Well, the Prime Minister is currently in Indonesia, where he's refused to answer questions about what Australia knew about Russia's request for closer military ties with Indonesia. Here he was.
We know that Indonesia's answer is no, but was the question asked?
Indonesia's answer is no. They've made it very clear.
But was the question asked?
They've made it very clear. Not for me to comment on what occurs between countries that are not Australia. What is important is Australia's position. Our position's clear. Indonesia's position is clear as well.
Basil, Albanese doesn't seem to like transparency.
Well, that is a conclusion that we can draw, certainly based on that response anyway. You know, this is a different Anthony Albanese now, isn't it? He's just been returned in very emphatic fashion. And I think what we're seeing signalled here is how he's going to deal with some of those issues. Now, some people will say, well, he's earned that right, or at least the majority that he's had is going to dictate how he approaches the next 3 years. He'll be aware that he can't push it too far, but the early signs are he's going to do it how he wants to do it, and is empowered to be able to do it that way. Transparency is an issue that Aussies will really start to rail against, though, if there's not enough of it shown. And I reckon this message or this on-warning goes both ways. We'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah. And it's not just transparency that's an issue, but Matt, remember when Murray Watt described the suggestion that Russia was asking to have its weapons and aircraft in Indonesia as like believing in the Loch Ness Monster? But then Russia went and publicly confirmed that it had made these requests of Indonesia. So this is not just about failing to be upfront with the Australian public, but it's almost hiding the truth when it comes to a matter of public interest and national security.
Well, Murray's just a blowhard, Sharri, and that demonstrated by that outburst. And look, I will say here, I don't expect the Australian government to disclose all of its intelligence that it may receive at different times. So there is some rationale for the Prime Minister not to reveal everything here. But my concern is not so much about what the Prime Minister knew and when he knew it, but more what is he doing? Because it's been very clear that Indonesia is getting closer to Russia for some time. You don't need stories about or crazy conspiracies about Loch Ness monsters to know that. Indonesia announced early this year, publicly announced at the beginning of this year, that it was officially joining the so-called BRICS coalition, which is notionally a grouping of countries aligned against the United States and its allies. So we knew that, and it's just not clear what the government has done in response. I mean, how are we doing to secure our defence needs, our energy needs, our national security needs? Why hasn't the Prime Minister gone to visit Donald Trump to discuss these matters? The election now was, how long ago was it now? We're looking at 7-8 months almost now since the US presidential election. Well, yeah, but he had plenty of time to do that, either this year or late last year. Plenty of people were going to see him before the inauguration. And clearly the Albanese government would have known something was up. And I just don't know, what have you done in response to protect our country? I'm not so sure.